In this video, we'll talk about 4 important questions to ask before buying a co-op apartment in New York City. When it comes to co-op apartments, typically there are 2 phases for the due diligence process. During the first phase, your real estate agent, or you if you decided to do this all by yourself, will go through active listings online and ask the seller's agents questions via phone, email, or during in-person viewings. Your goal here is to filter the buildings to make sure you aren't wasting your time in places that won't work for you. The second phase includes more thorough due diligence and is typically conducted by your real estate attorney after your offer has been accepted. So this video will be about the first phase, questions you should ask during your initial search before you make an offer. So question number 1, what is the co-op sublet policy? Depending on your specific situation, this can be either a deal breaker for you or an important piece of information to know. I have a full video explaining co-op sublets, so you can watch that for more details. But just to touch this point briefly, let's look at some common co-op sublet policies. Well, one example is 2 out of 4 years policy, usually with 2 years prior occupancy. This means that you can rent out your apartment for 2 years during any 4-year window, but only after living there for the first 2 years. There might be other variations of this type of sublet policy, such as 2 out of 5 years or 3 out of 5 years. You get the idea. Another type of sublet policy can be maximum number of years, for example, 3 years during the life of your ownership. So it doesn't matter if you own your apartment for the next 3 years or 20 years. Once you sublet it for a total of 3 years, that's it. You no longer are allowed to sublet your apartment. So if you no longer want to live there, you either must keep it vacant or sell it. There are co-ops that allow unlimited subletting after 2 years of ownership, and I also have seen some co-ops that don't even require that initial 2 years of occupancy. You're free to rent it out from the first day of completing your purchase. And of course, you'll find co-ops in the city that don't allow sublets at all. Which one is the right choice for you depends on your specific situation, why you're buying the apartment in the first place, and your long-term goals. There are situations when no sublet buildings can be a great choice for someone, but a completely wrong choice for another. And be careful with unlimited sublet buildings because they can come with their own set of risks and downsides. Always consult with a real estate professional to make sure you fully understand what you're buying. Speaking of consultation, if you're new to my channel, my name is Sargis and I'm a licensed real estate agent with Coop based here in New York City. There is a link in the description of this video where you can schedule your free one-on-one consultation call with me if you're looking to buy, sell, or rent in New York City. But even if you're not quite ready yet and have some questions, I'll still be happy to chat with you and provide answers. Just click the link you see in the description. Moving on, the second question would be, are there any current or upcoming assessments? From time to time, buildings need additional funds to cover major repairs and improvements, and assessments would be on top of your monthly maintenance fees. The difference between maintenance payments and assessments is that your monthly maintenance you pay every month in order to keep the building up and running, pay the staff salary, maintain the common areas, and so on. There is no end date for your monthly maintenance payments. As long as you continue owning shares in that co-op, you are responsible for your portion of maintenance payments. But on the other hand, assessment funds have a specific use. The project can be anything cosmetic from, let's say, renovating the lobby or the hallways, to things like changing the boiler, elevators, and also the items that are legally required, such as the facade restoration projects and so on. If the building has any current ongoing assessments, it's very important to know the details, such as the monthly assessment amount, if it's paid monthly, improvements that were made, and the end date. Each shareholder is responsible for paying their portion of the assessment based on the number of shares they own in the corporation. I just don't want to make the same video repeating myself, so more details about assessments you can see in this video. The remaining assessment balance can also be negotiable with the seller, depending on what kind of market you're in, how many other offers you're competing against, and how well you or your agent can negotiate. You might have the seller pay the remaining assessment balance at the closing. Also, some buildings may have a policy that the assessment balance must be paid off before ownership can be transferred. In this case, if you're not in a seller's market competing against multiple offers, most of the time sellers are ready and have budgeted to pay that off. Also, in some cases, the end date of assessment might not even be predetermined depending on the project for which the funds are needed. So it's very important to fully understand the risks of what you're buying. Just to clarify, I'm not saying assessments are a bad thing. It is common for buildings to undergo periodic assessments because things deteriorate and need a replacement. Also, upgrades and renovation work have a potential of increasing the value of each apartment in the building. The bottom line is always ask if there are any current or upcoming assessments so you can budget properly and be aware of the risks. Question number 3 would be, is there a flip tax? I haven't made any separate video about flip taxes yet, but I plan to do so. What I'm trying to say is, if you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification, you won't miss any future videos. Okay, back to this video. Just know that some co-ops charge a flip tax when there is a transfer of ownership in the building as a way to contribute to the building's reserve fund. Don't let the word tax confuse you. This payment does not go to your local or federal government. The flip tax money goes to the building's reserve funds. The amount of flip tax varies depending on the building. Typically, it's a percentage of the gross sales price, usually ranging from 1 to 3%. There are also other ways co-ops might impose this flip tax, such as a dollar amount per share or a percentage of the profit made from selling the apartment. Usually sellers pay the flip tax, but some co-ops might require a buyer to pay it. In this case, depending on your offer, you may negotiate with the seller to get equivalent or more value back in exchange of paying the flip tax. The flip tax negotiations can also vary depending on the market and how many other offers the seller has. It was common back in 2021 during the all-time low interest rates to see buyers willing to pay the flip tax to make their offer even more stronger. So be aware of any possible flip taxes so you can budget properly. And just like assessments, flip taxes aren't a bad thing. Of course, it's an extra cost, if not when you buy, but most likely when you sell, but those flip taxes can keep the building's financials healthy. Next question, what's included in the co-op's monthly maintenance? Generally speaking, monthly maintenance of a co-op apartment includes the cost of maintaining and operating the building, staff salary, management company fees, and so on. Most of the time, the utilities such as water, sewer, garbage, gas, heat is also included in your maintenance. A lot of buildings have separate meters for electricity, which means your electric bill is paid directly to the utility company. But there are co-ops in the city that have all utilities including electricity covered in the maintenance bill. If your building has a gym, pool, and other recreational facilities, you need to find out if there are any additional membership fees for those amenities. In some buildings, you have free access, which is not really free, it just means that those amenities are covered in your monthly maintenance payments, and other buildings will charge additional membership fees if you want to have access to the gym, pool, and other amenities. So this is important for you to know your monthly expenses. Besides those questions, during your initial search process, when you're looking at the listings available, whichever listing you're interested in, you should also know that specific co-op's purchase and financial requirements, such as minimum down payment, acceptable debt-to-income ratio, post-closing liquidity requirement, does the building allow a co-purchase, guarantors, gifts, parents buying, pied-à-terre. I'm not going to talk about those requirements here, not because I don't know them, but because I've already made a detailed video talking about co-op's financial and purchase requirements. If you don't believe me, here's the video, which is also linked in the description below, so feel free to watch that as well to fully understand those requirements. For co-ops, it doesn't matter if your financial institution is ready to give you a mortgage to purchase a home and the seller accepts your offer. Every co-op has its own requirements, and depending on your financials and desired purchase structure, if you don't satisfy the building's requirements, your purchase will most likely be rejected. My biggest advice here is to work with an agent who knows the local market and how the transactions are done wherever you're trying to buy. If you're buying an apartment in New York City, it is crucial that your agent has the required skills to search, filter, qualify, and complete co-op transactions. Your due diligence, of course, doesn't end by asking asking those questions we've talked about in this video. As I mentioned before, this is just the first phase of your search where you don't want to waste your time in buildings that will not work for you. After this initial phase, when you have an accepted offer, your real estate attorney will start thorough due diligence to make sure you fully understand the building you're buying in, all the risks associated with your purchase, and to make sure there aren't any red flags or things that are out of ordinary. That's it for today's video. Don't forget there is a link in the description, and by clicking that link you can schedule your free one-on-one consultation call with me if you're looking to buy, sell, or rent here in New York City, or if you just have any questions about New York City real estate. Lately, I've also been getting DMs from people who are looking to become a real estate agent. So if you're one of those people looking to get your real estate license, you're also welcome to schedule a call with me, and I'll give you my honest opinion and advice how to start your career. If you got any value from this video, it would be great if you just hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you dislike it, there's also a button for dislike. Other than that, stay safe, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.